There's a sound your soil makes when it's dying, and it's silence. No worms turning. No life stirring underneath. Just bark sitting on top, doing absolutely nothing. That's exactly what I discovered under my own mulch one autumn morning, and it changed how I garden forever. For years I treated bark mulch like a gardening commandment. Spread it thick, keep it neat, call it done. Every season I'd haul bags of it around my beds, convinced I was protecting my plants and locking in moisture. The garden looked sharp. Tidy edges, uniform color, the kind of thing that gets compliments from neighbors. But looking tidy and being healthy turned out to be two completely different things. The moment that cracked everything open was an ordinary digging session. I pushed my trowel into a bed I'd mulched faithfully for 2 years straight, expecting soft, crumbly soil underneath. Instead I hit something dense and compacted, almost clay-like. No worms. No that rich, earthy smell you get from healthy ground. Just dead weight sitting under a layer of bark that hadn't broken down at all. It hit me that the mulch wasn't feeding anything. It was just sitting there like a lid. That sent me back to basics, back to how soil actually behaves in nature. Walk into any forest and you'll find the ground covered in decomposing leaves, broken twigs, and constant organic turnover. That layer isn't decorative. It's a feast that never stops being served, and it's why forest soil is dark, loose, and bursting with life. My bark mulch was the opposite of that. Static, slow, practically inert. I was covering my soil instead of collaborating with it. Here's the part most gardeners never get told. Bark and wood chips are high in carbon and almost empty of nitrogen. When soil microbes try to break that material down, they have to pull nitrogen from somewhere, and that somewhere is your soil. So while you think you're nourishing your beds, you're actually running a nitrogen deficit right under your plant's roots. On top of that, a thick bark layer can shed rainwater instead of absorbing it, leaving the ground beneath dry and starved of air. You end up with soil that's both hungry and suffocating at the same time. The missing worms were the real wake-up call. Earthworms don't show up for decoration. They need decomposing organic matter to eat, tunnel through, and convert into rich castings. No food source, no worms. No worms, no aeration, no natural drainage, none of the underground infrastructure that keeps a garden thriving. That absence told me everything I needed to know. I wasn't gardening with nature, I was working against it without even realizing it. So I made a change, and it's the one thing I'd tell every gardener watching this to try immediately. I stopped using bark and switched to a living mulch system built from homemade compost, shredded leaves, and kitchen scraps. Instead of dumping one thick static layer once a year, I started applying thin layers regularly throughout the growing season. After a good rain, I'd spread a layer of compost, then follow it a little later with shredded leaves. Grass clippings and trimmed plant stems went straight into the mix too, left right on the surface to break down naturally in place. For consistency, here's the simple ratio I settled on and still use today. For every square meter of bed, I apply about 2 centimeters of finished compost as the base layer, followed by a 3 centimeter layer of shredded leaves on top. Every few weeks, I add a thin handful of grass clippings, roughly 1 cup per square meter, scattered lightly so it doesn't mat down and turn slimy. That's it. No measuring spoons, no complicated recipes, just consistent, varied feeding instead of one heavy dump and forget approach. The garden looked a little less polished at first. Less like a magazine photo, more like an actual living system. But within a single season, the difference underground was undeniable. Earthworms came back in numbers I hadn't seen in years, tunneling through soil that had gone from compacted to soft and crumbly. Those tunnels did exactly what bark never could, opening up pathways for air and water to move freely through the ground. The soil turned dark and rich, practically smelling like a forest floor. Humus started forming, the kind of stable organic material that holds moisture during dry spells and drains properly during wet ones. My plants noticed before I did. Stronger stems, deeper color, way more resilience against the usual stress that comes with summer heat or a dry week. Weeds were still there, because no system eliminates them completely, but they pulled out of the soft ground with almost no effort. The bed stayed noticeably cooler and held moisture longer, even on hot days. I stopped reaching for synthetic fertilizer entirely, because a soil that's properly fed feeds the plants growing in it. That's the whole secret, and it isn't complicated once you see it. The real lesson here is about intent, not materials. Bark mulch covers soil. Compost and shredded leaves feed it. Nature never leaves ground bare, It's constantly blanketed in something, breaking down and returning nutrients to the cycle. When you copy that pattern in your own garden, you're not doing extra work, you're closing a loop that's been running successfully for millions of years. Every leaf you save, every kitchen scrap you toss onto a bed instead of into the trash, is a direct deposit into your soil's future fertility. You don't need to overhaul your entire garden overnight to see results. Start with one bed. Swap the bark for compost and shredded leaves using the same simple layering I mentioned. Watch what happens underground over the next few months. You're not just decorating your garden anymore, you're building a living ecosystem beneath your feet, one handful of compost at a time. If this approach to soil health resonated with you, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive into real, lasting gardening techniques. And if you know a fellow gardener who's still buried under bark mulch, send this their way. They'll thank you once their worms come back.